oil shit under Kamala Harris, and people still pick him. That just makes Kamala Harris look like a bad candidate, in my opinion. I don't know, my last caller dropped. I'm trying to, the whole time while we were talking, she dropped. I'll keep moving on, but the whole time we were talking, you guys probably see me moving and shifting around. I'm trying to get there's a very sunny day here, so I had to do things to darken it up in the vehicle. So bear with me. I'm trying to control the lighting to keep the program somewhat manageable. But by the way, this is an audio program. You don't fucking need to look at my ass. I'm nothing to look at anyway, but for some of you folks, you are actually looking at me, so I'm trying to make the lighting work for that to happen. All right, looking in the comments, I got reported. Miss Mobetta, really? Really? Appeal that. I didn't know that's what happened. My last caller is saying that she got reported by somebody. Wow. It does happen on the show. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone, so you hear comments coming from all directions. I'm about free speech, but some folks in the comment section, sometimes that can happen. You should be appealed that. I didn't hear what you said. It was that damn bad. Let me look in the comment section. That's always the excuse, says Chris. What do you mean the excuse? Elaborate on what you're talking about there. He is with his first love, North Korea and Russia. Give Trump a chance, says, I can't pronounce the name there. I've said that on my live. While I am 100% believing that Trump and MAGA would not have given the liberals a chance, I don't believe in all of this tit for tat shit. Trump won by a lot, and I do believe, or at least in my personal mindset, I'm going to get a guy a chance. I'm still having problems with shit in this car, but I'm going to personally get a guy a chance. But I am going to say for certain, I don't believe that Trump would have done the same for Democrats. There's no way in hell. I think he would have did what he's on course of doing. He would have said the election was stolen once again. He was already saying it. 24 hours ago from now, Trump was saying there was a fraud. Now that he's won, he's not complaining about fraud anymore. So I don't know. I don't believe Trump would have conceded to Kamala. I don't believe he would have shook her hand or any of that. I do believe he would not have given Kamala a chance, but he won. And I'm not like that, at least, and hopefully more Democrats are not like that, and they do give him a chance. But we'll see. Looking in the comments, Buckeye, appreciate the crown, by the way. Thank you, Buckeye 40. Every time I see your name, I think about last night. All right, I am hoping for the best, says Sabrina. So am I. And that's why I congratulated. My first video this morning was to the Trump supporters, the Republicans, conservatives, MAGA. Congratulations. It was a big win. Last night was literally the definition. And I'm going to ask you folks to tap the screen, get me on up to about 70,000 on the likes. Show the program some love. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Get us up to about 160 if that's possible. And I got the vertical feed going back again. So on YouTube, you guys are getting all of my screen on the horizontal feed, because this is the only way I can make the show possible. It's pretty bright outside, but I did congratulate him, because the fact is, no matter how you feel about what happened last night, it was the definition of a red wave. Trump won by a lot. Electoral college, significant victory there. Popular vote. How often do you hear of a Republican candidate winning a popular vote? When's the last time you heard that? So his win was historic. He won the Senate and the House. So he's now in control of the Senate, control of the House, has a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, likely to replace anywhere from 2 to 4 more Supreme Court justices. This is a red wave. This is what Trump was talking about when he stated several years ago, if you elect me, you're going to get tired of winning. He is now in a position where very little that is challenged is going to proceed. I mean, he's got, like I said, a very far-right Supreme Court, control of the Senate, control of the House, and a whole bunch of loyalists are going to be on his administration. Not to mention, there's probably a whole bunch of loyalists in Congress and the Senate as well. What he says goes. That is it. That is the definition of Trump's term from this point on. What he says goes. Doesn't even matter if it's legitimate or not. There are no more John McCains, no more General Millies, no more Ambassador Bowdens. What he says will go, period. Not saying he's a dictator, not saying he's going to do any of this shit, but I am going to say with confidence, he is in a position, if he wanted to do it. There should be no reason Trump can't get anything done in this term. That's a fact. I agree with that 100%. There's so much support for Trump, there should be no excuse for him to say, well, I couldn't do this or couldn't do that. Everything he says should go. No president in our lifetime has had more mechanisms of government on his side than Trump has. If you can't get it done with all of these handicaps, you ain't the man. He should not once should he ever be blaming Congress or Senate or any of the mechanisms of government for holding them back. If you can't get it done with this much shit in your favor, you ain't good at unity. You're not good at unity. I mean, you got everything on your side. I don't want to hear anything that you couldn't get done. That would make him look bad, in my opinion. Cryptic Bone Collector says, I better not hear him complain. He shouldn't have any complaints. Maybe a complaint or two from a liberal governor, maybe from there. But for the most part, in terms of meeting his own promises, if you can't get it done with all this on your side, you ain't the man. Let me go back to the box. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get the likes back on up to about 60,000. We're close. We can certainly do that. I do want to go to another caller. We'll go to Tiffany. Got a few females in here. I want to know, why didn't the females, as many females projected, why didn't they show up for Kamala Harris? I'd be curious to know. I'll see if it brings up Tiffany. Prices will go up after he implements those tariffs. I know people that were personally frightened for Trump because of those tariffs. We'll see if Mark Cuban and some of the economic analysts were correct. In my opinion, just like folks are saying with the whole police immunity and some of Trump's other promises, I don't think you're going to ever see those tariffs. Not at that level. I think that even some of his own loyalists will tell him, sir, if you do this, it'll destroy. I don't think you're going to see those tariffs. I think that Trump, as some of my viewers have suggested, says things to play to certain audiences, but when it comes down to having to actually implement it, I don't think you're going to see that. I don't think you're going to see those tariffs, because I do believe that most Americans would not benefit from that. When did they announce the GOP won the House? They haven't officially announced it, but the writing's already on the wall. So I'm going to announce it, just like they didn't want to announce last night that he was a president-elect. I was already saying it on my show. I was saying last night, if Kamala Harris had the lead Trump had, they would have been calling her the president-elect 2 hours earlier. They're a little hesitant to give Trump the credit, but the writing's all over the wall of this shit. He's going to win the House. So I'll leave it at that. States shattered early vote records, but total votes less than 2020. Yeah, less for him and her. But he won the popular vote. Two very unpopular candidates. Just like Trump versus Hillary Clinton were two of the most unpopular candidates. Democrats weren't that excited about Kamala Harris. They were excited about getting rid of Trump. Republicans were excited about Trump. But there was a lot of traditional Republicans that were not. The Nikki Haley supporters. My guess is if Trump did that much damage to her, Nikki Haley would have did even more. I think Nikki Haley would have even been worse, in my opinion, because the Never Trumpers would have voted for her too. Yes, so how is that possible? Where did the votes from 2020 go? How did they disappear? Some people didn't show up. Some people didn't vote. That's my opinion. Trump versus Biden, more people probably voted than they said Trump won 70 million last night or something like that. And there were more voters in the 2020 election than there was last night. That's the way I'm gonna look at it. Let me go back to the box. My last guest did not come up. We'll go to another subscriber. I don't know what I'm trying to bring up there. What does that say? Or something like that. We'll go to him indeed. What is it? Actually, when all the voters are counted, Donald will have over 7%, 76 million That is higher than 20. So you're saying Trump is going to get more than 76 million. Well, let's see once they count it, and we'll talk about that. Jay, good afternoon. The J, are you there? You're on mute.
Good, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. What is your take on last night? What the hell happened? Why did Kamala lose by so much?
Without waxing on right here in the beginning, I'll just say she's a woman. That's the reason.
So
I promise you it's that simple.
So you too believe misogyny had a lot to do with it?
100%. And here's the thing, it's not just for men. There are a bunch of women with that ideal as well. And with that ideal, it's called internalized misogyny.
What do you mean?
Where when you have a country and a society that has been predicated on these ideas for so long, it's hard for even some of those women to imagine a woman being the leader of such a powerful country.
Wow. Now, I will say in your defense, because I've been doing lives for, I don't know, a few years now. I have had women tell me no real man would ever vote for a woman to be in charge of this country. I had one woman, I think Texas mom, she comes on the program all the time, and she says she too believes in a hierarchy: God, man, woman, child. So you are correct. Some women don't believe a woman should have that job.
I mean, think about it, Tim. America lauds itself as the biggest, most freest, most open-minded country in the world. Yet there are so many countries, including developing countries around the world, who's had at least one woman as their leader.
Yeah, New Zealand, I think Madeleine Albright over in the UK, Angela Merkel in Germany. Does Mexico have a female leader now? I think Mexico maybe.
She's new.
Yeah.
And you look at New Zealand with Jacinda Ardern. That country was one of the best countries in handling COVID.
Yeah.
Because they relied on the science.
Wow. I see somebody said, I see in the comments, Raptor says 5 out of 160, LOL. I mean, in other words, there's not a lot of them, though.
And the thing about it is this. Both times he won, it was against a woman that was overwhelmingly more qualified than him. Overwhelmingly.
Yeah, well, Hillary Clinton. Yeah, you know that you make a good point, because I said that before in the program when they were saying that Kamala Harris wasn't qualified. If you looked at her resume only, not what she'd done while she was in office, but her resume only, she literally has a resume that looks like somebody who's climbing to the presidency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will go further and say this. One of the other reasons is, and I've been trying not to do this, but I've been doing these lives now and participating in them for the last 2 years, more so than any other time. I try not to use this word, but Americans are dumb.
Why do you say that?
It's in the numbers. Thank you so much for asking that question. The literacy in America as it stands, 50+% of us are on an 8th grade level in terms of literacy. Around 20% of us are on a 6th grade level.
Well, as one man might have said, I love the uneducated.
There we go. So we on this same road here. So when you're trying to tell people how government works, when you're trying to tell them about the 3 branches of government, when you're trying to tell them about the importance of Supreme Court justices, they're not really listening to that. When you try to tell them about the economy, about how any administration's economy doesn't stop as soon as they leave office, when you try to tell them that since the 1940s, the GDP, and that's another thing, I have to explain to them what the GDP means. When you try to explain to them since the 1940s that historically Republican-led administrations, GDP is around 2.1 to 2.3%. And for Democrats, it's around 4.1 to 4.3% every single time. And when you see this happens continuously since the 1940s, and you tell me that you care about the economy, how is that possible when you vote against the economy's own interest?
Well, and I do agree with the phrase people often say it's the economy's stupid, but under this case, folks are saying that they left the border unsecure. Folks are believing that we're getting involved in too many overseas conflicts. You got to understand, a lot of that may have hurt Kamala too, right?
Yes, and here's the thing about that. I get that people want to connect her to Joe Biden, but there's another thing where people don't even understand the purpose and the actions of a vice president.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That it is crazy to suggest that Kamala Harris is responsible for a bad economy and all this stuff. The VP don't have anything to do with any of that. But I will say this: Biden, unlike Trump, Biden was doing a terrible job in speaking and preaching to the people about his accomplishments. So Trump could get.
Wait, Tim.
Go ahead.
I hate to cut you off on that. The Democrats are horrible with their message.
Yeah.
They are the worst. Sure, there are a lot of smart people over there. I believe there's smart people in Republicans, Independents, even Libertarians, all of that. But the Democrats in their messaging, they're not there. Trump speaks to people in a way that they can understand because, again, 50+% of this country is illiterate. And he knows how to speak to them.
Illiterate but voting.
There it is. Let me ask you this. Do you remember the movie Idiocracy?
No.
Okay, just really quickly, what happens in Idiocracy? There's a man who's put in this chamber that puts him to sleep essentially. And he's supposed to be there for not a long period of time, but over time, what happens is the smarter people stop having babies. The dumber people keep running it up. like it's a race, right? So what happens to America is when he finally gets out of this chamber, America is extremely dumbed down and are slaves to capitalism. Everybody is wearing the same clothes. Everybody is wearing the same shoes. The president of this country is a former actor and wrestler. They can't grow plants because they're given a Gatorade because Gatorade has electrolytes, not water.
Well, as Buckeye might say in the comments, maybe we need more dumb people to work at McDonald's. So we need, because that's what it said in the comments. Because keep in mind, think of it this way. They're going to go after and prevent so many migrants from coming in the country, which are some of the folks that may work some of the lesser educated jobs, while they are placing limitations on abortion in a lot of states. Maybe that is the goal, is to have some more employees at that level that are Americans as opposed to foreigners to do those jobs.
Yes, 100%. And for Kimmy B237, who asked me if I believe that the Black Americans and Mexican Americans who voted for Trump are dumb, yes, I don't mind telling you that. And the reason why I don't mind telling you that is this, and this one right here hurts him. When I'm telling people about this literacy rate, I'm not celebrating this. I'm not throwing it in your face as a ha-ha. It hurts. For Black American men, only 1% of us are reading on a proficient level. That hurts. That's according to Sage Journals. What Sage Journals does, they're a collective of not just scientists, but academics who study the literacy rate of our entire school system. Speaking of our entire school system, when you're talking about getting rid of the Board of Education, the reason why I can't explain to you why that is a problem is because you think the Board of Education controls your curriculum. They do not. The Board of Education is largely a funding arm to assist the schools around this country, public schools. And the reason why that hurts is because the state that I'm in, Alabama, these states, Alabama, Mississippi, West Virginia, and stuff like that, those states hover around the dumbest states in the country every year. We're always close to the lowest one. We also don't have a lot of money here. The life expectancy here is low. So when you eliminate the Board of Education, what do you think is going to happen to the money for the schools in these places that need it?
Yeah, and speaking of that, the Board of Education, I see DJT, Donald J. Trump, 2024 on YouTube said, goodbye teachers union. So in other words, now that they control every damn thing, and you're talking about all the stuff you're mentioning, the teachers union is going to be trash.
And here's the thing, a few other things, so that I don't hold up from the other callers. If you're talking about fuel, the fuel prices have been going down now since August. Not only am I driving my own personal vehicle, but I'm also driving an 18-wheeler. I know that personally, specifically. It's been going down since August. If you're talking about how we're getting our oil right now in this country, and please, everybody, please back me up on this. Don't just take my word for it. We're drilling more in this country than we ever have in the history of this country.
Yeah, I've heard that, but we can't use the fuel that we drill. We can't refine it. So we export that and we import stuff that is more easier to use. And people are complaining because we import. They're saying, well, we should be drilling. But you're right, we are doing that. But that's what I said. The Democratic messaging has been very poor to the point where so many people believe this bullshit when it's not true. I got to move it on, Jay. You know how we do.
Okay, give me one second before we get out of our permit, and I'm gonna drop myself when I get done. This is the same person that we reelected who told us not only were we gonna get the border wall, but he was gonna make Mexico pay for it. Never happened. I don't think it's gonna happen this time around either. When we are talking about those tariffs, when you talk about your groceries, let us not forget that during his administration, we lost 1,000 legacy farms. 1,000. Those farms had to sell to mega farms. When the mega farms get their money on that crop, what do you think the crops are going to be like when it gets to your grocery store? These are the things that I'm talking about. When literacy matters, I can't explain to you how government works because you feel how you want government to work, not how you know it is. Nevertheless, Tim, I don't want to hold you up too much longer, good brother. I thank you for the time. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I see in the comments, Buckeye says we always say thank God for Alabama and Mississippi. What he said, they're more backwards than Georgia. The Georgians always say thank God for Alabama and Mississippi. So they take some of the spotlight off of Georgians. Is that what I'm hearing? Tap the screen, folks. Get the likes up to about 75,000. Help out the program. Help out the algorithm. We don't block, ban, or censor. Wow. Alter ego. I gotta say, shout out for the galaxy. I haven't seen a galaxy in so damn long. I felt like the space program had been canceled. So thank you for the galaxy. I do appreciate that. It helps out the support. By the way, I am now horizontal on YouTube as well. So the support helps that stuff because I'm running literally 3 mobile devices on this shit. There is a cost to it. It's not a lot, but there is a cost to producing this. So thank you for your support. It does help. Elon, the minister of France. Yeah, what is he going to give Elon? What will Elon Musk, because he likely is going to get some kind of involvement in this. I don't know if he's going to be minister of finance. Yeah. I don't think anybody would disagree. Elon Musk is certainly a successful businessman. I think we've heard that before. Elon Musk, the minister of finance. I wish he hadn't got involved in politics. I've said it about Elon Musk. Elon Musk could be a great guy for all. I wish he wasn't getting involved in some of the divisive things that politics involve. And I do believe Jeff Bezos of Amazon, because he prevented his paper from endorsing Kamala Harris, I think he saw the writing on the wall, because even the betting sites overseas were letting you know Trump was going to win. I think that Jeff Bezos, the world's second richest person behind Elon Musk, probably saw the writing on the wall and prevented his paper from endorsing Kamala Harris. Because at the end of the day, one thing I can say for certain is this: Trump rewards loyalty. If you are on his side and he is victorious, he will let you ride his coattails to some degree. You've seen Vivek Ramaswamy out there. Vivek Ramaswamy is literally the definition of a coattail rider. Shout out to him, though. It's going to involve riches. Tim Scott, these folks are going to do fairly well for following Trump's coattails. You see what he said about Megyn Kelly doing his first presidential run, indicating that she was on her menstruation cycle and shit like that? Guess who she endorsed? She realizes it. So, look, at the end of the day, I've said a lot of things disparaging the former President Trump. But shit, if I thought I could make millions of dollars by hanging around him for a minute, I ain't going to say I'm above that shit. These folks are going to make a ton of money. Elon Musk, for instance, is likely to get all sorts of government contracts. He's a genius. He already is doing, Starlink, electric vehicles. Maybe the government starts using some of this shit. You notice how Trump changed his tune against electric vehicles when Elon started endorsing them? Suddenly the lithium batteries weren't so explosive anymore. Suddenly the range of electric cars wasn't such a big concern anymore. Elon Musk going to make it. I mean, it's like an oxymoron at this point, but Elon Musk is going to make a ton of money under Trump. A ton of additional money under Trump. And I think Jeff Bezos wants part of that. Will G, like I said, Trump and Vance literally bullshitted their way into office. Nothing will reflect and they will bullshit their way out of responsibility. I don't think they really have to do all of that, Will. I think MAGA's going to ride with them no matter what. If you think you can shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not have any problems, getting caught for some bullshit is a minor formality, a mere formality. It Will G says Trump will try to make Elon Iron Man in real life. Elon Musk will be immortal under the Trump administration. He will, as long as he don't say or do anything that puts him at odds with Trump, Elon Musk will become immortal under Trump, in my opinion. I don't, Black Rain, I gotta get that. I don't have, you said Venmo. I got the Cash App. I gotta get that. I gotta get that. Appreciate the inquiry. I don't have that yet. I wasn't expecting you to say that. Glad we are teaching our children that it's okay to bully and treat people like shit. Be careful. I don't, Chanel, I don't have any, no, I can't challenge that. People are saying that your child should toughen up. You know, you sit your 3-year-old in front of an episode of Archie Bunker and teach him how to behave. You watch all in the Family. I mean, that is what people are starting to tell us, is the kids should toughen up, learn how to take some insults. They are saying that now. The handsome liberal at Cash App. I appreciate that too, Black Rain. The $, the handsome liberal. You'll see my picture and everything on that. I appreciate that, whatever that is. Thank you. But yeah, it's right there on the profile too. But $, the handsome liberal. Popular vote plus some. No one can say anything about Trump, our president. We have enough enemies. Let's go, America. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but I think you'll get more of the no one can say anything about Trump if Trump doesn't spend his presidency saying a bunch of things about other people. I think we could make this work if he genuinely focuses on making America better and does not get involved in a lot of social arguments. Fact is, let the Sean Hannitys and Tucker Carlsons, you got a whole entourage of folks who will happily go after enemies of yours. You don't need to do it. Just like you didn't really see, Biden referred to MAGA as garbage a few days ago. He had the whole speech calling MAGA ultra MAGA with the red background in the Marine. I think he did that about a year or so ago. But for the most part, Biden wasn't going after every single celebrity that said something negative about it. He wasn't doing that. If Trump goes into that mode, or Obama, or any of these other folks who weren't doing that, George W. Bush wasn't doing it, we might be able to make it work. We might be. But if he want to take a stance of everybody who attacks me, I'm going to attack them back, then it's just going to be more problematic. Let me go back to the box. Biden did last week. So yeah, he used the garbage term. I brought that up. Biden called Trump supporters garbage a couple weeks ago, and he talked about ultra MAGA about a year ago. Other than that, Biden has not made a habit of attacking MAGA very much. He don't really talk about them. Trump is constantly talking about somebody. Yeah, they talked about him first. Well, that's just a bunch of back and forth. Will G, 4 years of Trump toddler swaying to YMCA. He definitely played a lot of YMCA. I went to a couple Trump rallies, and they play some, you got to be old, because they play a lot of old music at his rallies. Elvis, I heard ABBA. Like, damn, do you have anything from at least last decade? During the intermission, you're sitting there, you're waiting for Trump to come on stage or between speakers. Everything they played was like the 60s and 70s. Like, damn, how old am I supposed to be at this motherfucker? I'm in my 50s, and I'm like, damn. Do you have anything from last decade at least? Like, the music they were playing was really, really for old people. Really for old people. And they were doing that from every rally. I mean, when did YMCA come? That's got to be in the 1970s, the disco era, right? YMCA is probably almost 50 years old. Let me go back to the box. Like, man. And then, of course, you seen Bill Maher making fun of Trump's dance where it looks like he's jacking off 2 people. One of the things I will say about Trump, because folks are like, you just talking shit because you a content creator. There is some validity to that. I talk about the politics on the channel, but I'll go to the box. But one of the things I will say, Trump will provide eons, for lack of a better term, eons more content than Kamala Harris ever would have. Because he's just literally a content machine. So you're going to get a lot more content from Trump than anybody else. So for a content creator, there is a backdoor benefit to that. If that's a term I should be using. Texas born. Good afternoon. I also think Kamala's rallies gave the impression of high voter turnout. They did. They did give I don't know I thought they were high voter turnout though. She had a lot of the celebrity crew. Crazy thing is, she raised a ton of money, $1 billion. It's crazy that a candidate can raise that kind of money and still lose. All of that money wasted, all of the advertising, the money the television stations made, billboards, all of that shit. I don't want to hear how poor we are. Or we can't do this for immigrants, or not immigrants, but American citizens. We can't give people free lunches. We can't afford it. We can afford a lot of shit in this country. We just have to give a damn about the people who need it. The moment we cared about whether Trump or Kamala Harris became president, America suddenly found a way to produce a whole lot of fucking money. But when somebody is poor or struggling and they need a little, well, who's going to pay for that? We don't have any money. The fuck you don't? You just spent almost $2 billion on a presidential campaign. You do have a lot of money. Quit being selfish and admit the damn truth. Let me go back to the box. And that's just that campaign. The Senate, the congressional, all of those campaigns, there's money floating every fucking where. You can't afford it. You're right. Larry Pecan, good afternoon. Shit, twin, I'm still living with my mama. You get the point, though. All of those political races, there is a ton of money floating around. Just Trump and Kamala Harris alone is probably damn near $2 billion. Motherfuckers buying shoes and Bibles and hats. I got 5 Trump hats my damn self. Tell me we ain't got no money in this country. Get the hell up out of here with that. The box is playing games. I'm trying to bring up another guest, but the box is taking time. I'll let it reset. When was the last time anybody saw an elderly person putting groceries back and offered to pay for it? I actually did that not long ago. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in store. I've seen it happen at least twice in my life. Not buying a whole lot of shit. Maybe a mom wants to buy a kid a toy or whatever. Look, we ain't getting that today. Here's $5. Go ahead and get that for him. I mean, that happens. I've handed money out. I was watching some guy on the street with a violin playing music the other day, and it was actually fairly rhythmic. Had a sign in front, I got 4 kids, and a little bucket. I put $5 in there. Just one dude. $5 ain't shit, but I'm just one dude. Hell, I've been on here for 3 hours. Hell, that money adds up. That money adds up. I got a few folks donating to this program. If I had everybody donated one day, it means a lot. It adds up. I put $5 in there. So the idea that we don't have money in this country is ridiculous. I think it's more of a selfish issue. I really do, because that presidential race showed people are willing to produce money when they favor what's happening. They just don't favor helping out homeless people. C. Osby, thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeah, appreciate your support. Thank you. I'll try another caller. My box is acting funny here, so maybe it's that time. DATUM, let's try to bring him up. If next year groceries don't go down, I want to see MAGA crying about Trump. They're not going to be crying about Trump. They'll be told this for another reason. Trump ain't got nothing to do with it. Good afternoon. Are you there? Apparently he's there, but he's not there. We'll move on with the program. Irene Strong, appreciate the support. Thank you very much. KCLS Tube, good afternoon. We miss Trump and his stimulus packages for America, not Ukraine and illegal immigrants. You're not going to get another stimulus package out of Trump. That ain't coming back.
If you was good at certain foods, stuff like that, what do you think you would kind of advertise as far as what you feel you're best at?
So I work in fine dining, so I'm
All right, at hand making my pastas.
Okay, I'm interrupting somebody.
I can do some duck and proteins.
All right, apparently I'm interrupting somebody that sounds like they're on an interview. Is he in class or an interview? I sound like he's in an interview. You know, some folks are on hold, and by the time I come around to them, they're doing something else. They already say, and stuff is cheap. Yeah, I tell you this. In my opinion, if the economy continues doing exactly what it's doing now, Texas born, tried to bring you up. Thank you, appreciate that. Even if Trump does nothing, the economy keeps going on a trajectory it's going on. I think in 6 months it will still be easy to convince MAGA that things are better. We're doing the best we are. I'm going to say this. Maybe some Trump supporters that don't favor it, whatever the case may be. I'm for free speech, but I don't think that MAGA is going to really challenge what Trump says. If he tells you you're doing good, damn it, you're doing good. It's simple as that. No matter what you pay. If he tells you right now America's doing better than it's ever been doing, that generally is enough. And I think under the same situation, if Biden or Kamala was to tell you we're doing good, no, we need to check the numbers out. I just think that he gets a pass on a lot of that. I'll leave it at that. The collaboration. Good afternoon. Welcome to the pro. Shoveling shit and saying it's sugar, says Double Up. You got an echo. Are you on Bluetooth?
Oh, my bad. Let me, I am. Let me turn it off.
All right.
How's that?
Loud. Yeah, that's better. That's much better.
Cool, man. Dude, I never thought I was going to get on here, for real.
A few people wanted to talk, but it's good to have you on.
Absolutely. I actually came from YouTube. I'm fairly new to the channel, but I wanted to talk about specifically how people are talking about how. Wow, I actually feel nervous, man. It's kind of cool. But I wanted to
No, you're doing fine. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, like literally, I wanted to talk specifically about how people are saying that Kamala lost because she's a woman.
Yeah.
I think that that's ridiculous.
Really?
I do want to start off by saying, though, I voted for Biden last time, right?
Okay.
And this time, I started doing my own research, like a lot of independents and people who switch sides, and that's what made me actually make those decisions. And I think that the number one thing that made her lose the vote is her policy. People want to completely ignore the fact that she had terrible policies that go against what a lot of people believe. I personally am a black man who voted for Trump. I think it's completely offensive to say that people who voted for Trump don't have an IQ or don't have an education. That's ridiculous, especially looking at the number of people who did vote for him. But going back to my point.
Let me interrupt to say this. I haven't seen the exit poll numbers, but I do believe if you look at college graduates versus non-college graduates, he probably did do far better with the non-college graduates. I think Kamala Harris probably did do better in that category.
Okay, but one quick question for you. Do you think that college education equates to intelligence?
Let me say this. Yes, I do believe it equates to intelligence in some levels. I mean, you go to school and you didn't learn nothing. Yeah, I do. I mean, I got 3 college degrees. I will say that I believe that some of the things that maybe a candidate may promise, that if you got an education, there is no way in hell he could ever deliver this. And I think if you don't, some people, you're going to be more susceptible to some of the tricks if you don't have any education.
Okay, so the one thing that I think, I think that people, when we talk about intelligence in this country, I think that people automatically equate that with the college education, which I don't think is a bad thing. I respect it. Personally, I did not go to college, but I grew up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which is a college town. I got a very, very good education, and I proceeded to go to trade school for myself because I didn't personally think that college was the right route for myself. Take that however you will, but again, my point is that her policy goes against what a lot of people might believe. For instance, the open border policy, the transgender policies that she and that's the thing too. She said that she would follow the law when she got in office, but there's videos of her literally bragging about how she would change the law so that people could have these transgender surgeries. There's videos of her bragging about how she could, with the swipe of her pen, throw black people in jail. So why are you surprised that black people didn't want to vote for her?
Let me interrupt to say a few things. First of all, in regards to the transgender thing and her talking about changing the law, this is why I say some folks may hold one side accountable and the other side not. There is Trump saying, putting the Constitution to the side and talking about taking away guns first without giving people due process, and the right kind of overlooked that. But that's the same thing about changing the law. He has literally talked about suspending the Constitution, and you're bringing up Kamala Harris with transgender talking about changing the law. So you're holding her accountable for that. But when he says something like suspend the Constitution or take away guns first without giving due process, which is on video saying that.
I can push back on that too, because and I appreciate you being reasonable about that. But I think that if we're gonna talk about it objectively from both sides, when Trump is pushed on, I don't want to run out of time.
You're good. Don't worry about it.
But I want to make this one point, and then I want to say something else. But when Trump, and it's not just Trump in his entirety. I look at Trump as a team, just like I feel like we should look at Kamala as a team. Who's running with her? Who's running with Trump? I like Trump not just because of Trump, and a lot of people are backing him not just because of him, but because of Vance, but because of Tulsi Gabbard, RFK.
That whole Trump as a team thing works when the team is doing something good. But that Madison Square Garden rally where there was a comedian, all of a sudden now he ain't on the team. You're talking about if you're going to attribute people for running together, then the people he invited to that Madison Square Garden rally was a team too, right?
Sure. And I mean, honestly, if I'm Trump, honestly, and I'm like, again, I said I'm a black man. I'm black. I'm actually Puerto Rican and Native American, so I'm the whole pot. You know what I'm saying? The whole recipe. But regardless, I thought that the joke, like when I heard that joke personally, just like everybody in that audience, I said, okay, cool, like, haha, funny joke, whatever. But it wasn't such a serious thing. But it was an opportunity for the left to go, hey, look, they are racist. But most people who can think for themselves, and this goes back to my other point, and true intelligence is the ability to formulate for yourselves your own opinion, to take the information and to make your own opinion. And a lot of people do not have that, but they claim to be smart people. They claim to be morally correct people, but they don't even, they will, that's the most offensive thing that came out of this entire thing. Because honestly, that's what solidified my standing in this entire election, was the fact that every single point that you look, you just see all of these liberals saying, hey, the Republicans are stupid. They're not doing their research. They're uninformed or misinformed, I mean to say.
Yeah, but you're a black man. You're a black man, correct?
Yes, sir.
You never been told you were on a Democratic plantation and you guys are just sheep? I mean, that's coming from both sides.
But again, that's divisiveness. And that's another point I would like to make. There's so many people, especially I hear it on your podcast all the time. So many emotional people, man. The emotions need to be absolutely completely removed from our political system. I had I do medical transportation, so I take people to and from the doctors, right? Mm-hmm. I had a lady in my car yesterday. I was just talking to her, to see how she felt about, the election and things like that. And almost immediately, she's just like screaming in my car, like, "Oh, I don't like to, I don't like to have these conversations because of," and I'm just talking to her like I'm talking to you. Like, I like to have level-headed, good conversations, because that's how it should be. Right. When it gets to the name calling, and on both sides, when I hear Trump saying, "Oh, they're communists" or whatever, and I mean, to us, even if I agree with you, that kind of language is only divisive. It's only going to tear people apart. And so when people talk about Trump supporters or people who voted for Trump, and they talk about people in such a negative light, and you can say the same thing on the other side. Whichever side is talking badly about the other, you got to know that all you're doing is vilifying the other side, dehumanizing.
Yeah, because I was going to say when you talked about people being emotional, and you're not the only one. I get a lot of MAGA that talk about, vote based on policy, don't vote based on your emotion. And my comeback is generally, if you're going to call people libtards, socialists, Marxists, tell them to their face, fuck your feelings, fuck, FJB, let's go Brandon, calling people snowflake. What do you think they're going to do? Just sit there and smile? I mean, you're trying to trigger emotion. But then when you trigger it, you're mad that it's coming out.
Well, Tim, I grew up in Chapel Hill. I grew up around just straight liberal people. I grew up I'm a theater kid. I do music and things like that, right? So I grew up very, very comfortable with liberal people. I had a lot of friends who were gay. There was actually 2014, 2015, there was a kid at my school who went through the whole transgender transformation, you know, with the not the entire thing, but
so what's your point?
I'm very comfortable with those things, but I believe in what I believe. And when I see things start to turn, so it's like I said, growing up, I felt a certain way. Like I was very confident, and I still feel the same way.
I'm not getting the relevance to what I just stated. To what I'm saying is, you can't tell people I'm looking to have liberal tears and fuck your feelings, and then complain. Oh my God, he's triggered. He's emotional. Wasn't that the goal?
Oh well, no, like that goes. I already said that. I think that's divisiveness, and that's not cool on either side.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you got gay people who support Trump. You got gay people who support Kamala, whatever.
Kamala, like the punctuation. It don't matter now. It's irrelevant. You're not going to be saying her name much longer now. But keep going.
Well, but see, like that's my thing. It's all about respect. It's all about doing what's right, and it's all about the truth. Those are it's all about what's morally correct, what's the right thing. And people have gotten so far away from that because they want to do what feels right. And see, and I didn't mention this also, but I'm a Christian man. I believe in Christian values, and I'm not going to force that on anybody or anything, but this country has lost so much of its moral value system. It's like what's right and what's wrong. What's a woman? What's a man? You know, we can't agree on anything because we have no moral value system.
Yeah, I've said in the program many times, I think that whole this country Christian value stuff is a farce. The way we're treating immigrants in this country, is that what Jesus would do to poor people trying to come in this? We're the richest nation on earth, and our moniker is now, we're going to focus on Americans first. We're going to only spend our money on each other. The wealthiest, is that something Jesus would do? I'm only going...
See, Tim, I don't really see it that way. I do. Well, so like again, there are extremists, right? Like that's
coming from the White House now.
Right. But there are people on there. There's going to be people on all sides of these situations. But
we're talking about the president, though. We're not talking about people. We're talking about from the White House. Their moniker is going to now be America first. We're only focusing on us. We're no longer going to send money. Hold on. We're not going to send money to poor countries overseas. We are the richest nation, and we're going to spend our money on us. That sounds Christian to you.
America first doesn't mean America only, and I know you've heard that.
It ain't got nothing to do with just that. He's made it clear we are going to stop sending money overseas to poorer nations. He said that clearly.
And I mean, maybe he would do that in the mean term, but we got to remember, Tim, that he's not even though he said
I didn't say dictator. I said I didn't say dictator. I'm saying that what we're doing does not fit the notion of being Christian. I mean, we don't sound like we really give a damn about the downtrodden. Even in this country, we are against giving poor people universal health care and shit. We don't even want to help out the people in this country.
Well, see, that's why I said I have Christian values. And
there we go. That's better. That's better.
Right. So this is what I'm saying. A lot of people probably voted for Christian values, which would be... wait, because most people don't agree with transgender surgeries for children, right? So like if we're gonna be real about it, most people do not, or at least Christian people do not agree with transgender. And so on that point alone, you can say that Trump could win the vote for Christian people, right? Because we have such extreme people. And again, like I said, if you're an adult, you do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? But when it gets to the point where they're just like, literally, I watched I get Congress and Senate mixed up all in my head all the time. But I was watching one of the political hearings, right? And they're talking about this book called All Boys Are Blue. In this book, it graphically describes a man or a young boy being penetrated by another man. And that book is in elementary schools.
Hold on, let me say this. This stuff doesn't make sense to me because we talk about, forcing, LGBT issues and shoving it down the throats of kids. But yet, you do realize they're putting the Bible in school. The Bible talks about sodomy as well. Isn't that the same thing what you're talking about? A man being penetrated. What is sodomy? What is it?
I think that's a reasonable pushback. But again, I'm not even gonna. I don't even have. I don't have personally a solid view on, or a solid opinion on what I believe in terms of the Bible being in schools. What I will say though is that we should be free to read the Bible in school, right? Not necessarily during class time, you know what I mean? But like if a kid has a Bible at school during lunch or something like that, that should be allowed. Don't tell me I don't read the Bible. I'm not going to sit
talk with me. Talk with me. Don't worry about the Don't worry about the comments. Talk with me. Here's the point I'm talking about. The right keeps talking about what they don't like about the left forcing on their kids. Trump was just at a Trump rally the other day, basically imitating fellatio on a microphone. Kids are at those rallies. Not one Trump supporter said, that's bad to watch my kid imitate you sucking dick. No one said a damn thing about it.
I didn't see that. I haven't
it's
seen that
all over YouTube.
I need to look that one up because I think that's also. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I support that. Like you guys keep saying, not you, but people. Actually, I have heard it from you multiple times today. You keep saying whatever Trump does, we're just going to support it. That's completely false.
I just gave you a prime example right now of them saying we don't like sexuality forced on our kids, but when Trump gets up there and imitates sucking dick, the whole complaint disappears.
I mean, we can go back to your point, Tim. You brought up Meg the Stallion earlier. I mean, because to your point earlier, are we gonna support everything that our party does, or back every person who does something in representation of our party? Probably not. Especially look. Every Christian I've heard talk about this, they'll say, "Oh, Jesus isn't on the ballot this year, so we got to choose between the lesser of two evils." Which I mean, whatever. But
I don't know where you're going with that, other than the deflection. I'm just simply saying that it is Trump. Hold on, it is Trump in the right, not the liberals. It is Trump in the right that is complaining that things are being shoved down the throats of children. The left ain't complaining about that. That's what the right is complaining about. Yet when they do some of the same stuff that the left is doing, sexuality on kids, they suddenly don't care about it no more.
I don't know if that's completely true.
Give me some examples. Tell me why.
Well, I mean, I guess a good, personally, I feel how I feel. I think a good pushback on that would be that Biden literally just put like 3 or 4 different babies' feet in his mouth. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I actually used to do that to my little daughter when she was a kid. I put her hands.
But you didn't do it to strangers' daughters. So I think it's a little bit different. And so my point is that you're not going to agree with everything, but I'm talking about policy.
I'm laughing. I can't even believe you brought that up.
Right, because this is what I'm talking about. These things get swept under the rug. And on the point of things being swept under the rug, why have we not talked about the allegations against Doug Emhoff? Why have we not talked about that?
What is that?
The fact that he knocked up his nanny and then assaulted that lady on the street?
Who's Doug Emhoff?
You haven't heard about Doug Emhoff attacking the lady on the street?
Who is Doug Emhoff?
Doug Emhoff?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris? What?
Oh, her husband. Her husband?
Yes, Tim.
Oh.
That got completely swept under the rug, man. Like, he was accused of assaulting a woman. If Trump was ever accused of assaulting a woman, that would be on the news for 2 weeks.
True, but if, let's say Michelle Obama, when Obama was running, if there were naked pictures of her all over the internet like there are of Melania Trump, the right would be like, oh my God. I mean,
isn't she a model?
Yes.
And an adult. And an adult.
Yeah, like when allegedly Kamala Harris slept with Willie Brown 40-something years ago, wasn't she an adult too? It matters to them.
Yeah. Well, but see, the thing I'm not saying that that's wrong. I think that the reason why people bring that up is to question to question not just that time period, but to question her entire career.
You can see pictures of the first lady's pussy online. That is nothing to really be concerned about, huh?
I did not say that.
I did. I said it.
Yeah, that would go under the bucket of things that I personally don't agree with. But again, Tim, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris, who goes against so many of my personal values and beliefs. On top of that, I do believe she's a liar.
I'm not. Listen, at the end of it, you think Trump is honest?
No.
Okay.
I did not say that.
All right, fair enough.
And again, like we said, like people say, it's the lesser of two evils.
Okay, all right. But the reason why I brought it up is because you mentioned earlier about being Christian based or whatever, and voting against, transgender surgery for children. I mean, do Christians, are they okay with what Melania Trump did? Is that Christian values? Like, she made money by showing pictures of her pussy. Is that okay with the Christians?
At the end of the day, Tim, I'll tell you that I don't agree with everything that Trump does or
I know
says.
that. You said that.
But I'll tell you this. I don't even know who Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are. They lie about so many different things.
Okay. And I'll give you credit for that. I don't dispute that. Kamala Harris, keep in mind, as vice president, we didn't know a lot about Mike Pence either, and Kamala Harris has only been running for president since August. Trump's been running for president since June of 2023 after being president. So there's no way in hell we should know more about Kamala or even equally as much to Trump. Trump's been in the spotlight, not to mention how long he was a celebrity as well, but just even in politics. He was president for 4 years, and then he ran for president for another year and a half. Kamala's only been running for president for like 3 months. You should know a lot more about Trump.
Yeah, but there's a lot of questions about Kamala too, and those also are not being covered in the media. And I don't want to go off the deep end with it, but like I've been listening to a little bit of like Judge Joe Brown, for instance.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tim. Oh yeah, because like and look, my thing is, Tim, because like I said, I don't believe fully in either side. But if there's a question to be raised, we should investigate the question.
All right. You drive a hard bargain. I'm not going to argue with you on that, but I'll just say, I got to move it on, but I will say, listening to information about Kamala Harris from Judge Joe Brown is like me trying to tell you what Al Sharpton thought of Trump. That's about as biased as you can come with Judge Joe Brown.
It's not just Judge Joe Brown, but
you brought him up.
Like I just said, if there's a question to be raised, we should look at the questions, because what really matters is the facts and the truth. It doesn't matter which side you're on. We should always look for what's actually true and leave our emotions in the back door.
I'll leave it at that. Appreciate you coming on. Doors always open to you.
I want to say thank you. I always leave comments about your objectivity, but I really do appreciate the platform that you have for us. This was my first time speaking with you, but I thought it went really well. I'm pretty new to the whole political discussions and everything, but I appreciate you hearing me out, and I hope that anybody listening can move forward with more objectivity and more respect for each other, because that's what's most important, is the truth and how we really treat and value each other, so God bless y'all.
Well said. We may disagree on a few things here or there, but you handled yourself well. My door's always open to you. Thank you for the accolade. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, and one more thing. Double Luck is tripping in the chat. He's straight tripping.
All right, gotta go. That's what my guests do. Moving on with the program. Looking in the comments, it's you with all the division, says Emily. All right, we'll leave it. You talk about my last guest. He was divisive. We get that here. Free speech reigns supreme on the program. Can I get you folks to tap the screen? Get us on over we almost at the 6-figure mark. I think you guys we're at 83. We can get to 100,000 likes for my TikTok viewers. By the way, folks, we don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly, always have been, always will be. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. As I said, we don't block, ban, or censor. We go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. If you favor that type of open dialogue from all sides of the aisle without any concern of a host trying to limit your opinion, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, YouTube, vertical and horizontal. Feel free to drop a subscription. Help out the show. The Simpsons TV show already predicted this back in the 1990s, that Trump would be president. Did they predict it? Well, he's already been president once. So if you grew up watching The Simpsons, this is right along the line of Donald Trump winning. All right. I do want to respond to a few super chats on YouTube. My apologies for not getting to it sooner. Trump will try to make Elon Musk Iron Man. I saw that, Will G. 4 years of toddler Trump. I seen that with the YMCA song. Trump with make off the good music. It's artists. Okay, you get the wording in this. Trump will make, you're saying that Trump's going to make money off the music he's playing? It's artists bend to his will. I mean, a lot of artists like Bruce Springsteen and Barry White, because he used to use his family, the late Barry White. A lot of folks told Trump to stop playing their music. A lot of folks did not want to associate with Trump. The guy, despite all the hatred, did very well last night. Total red wave. Will G says that is exactly what makes the right hypocrites. They complain about the homeless, but they don't want to do shit about it. I agree 100% that there is no love from the right. For social policies is a left thing. Many would suggest the only reason why people vote Democrat is because they quote unquote want free shit. In other words, we're not going to give you any of that. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps is the moniker on the right. You don't get free shit from the right. So when you hear folks on the right saying, well, instead of sending money to Ukraine or instead of helping out immigrants, we need to take care of Americans, that ain't going to happen. There was no Ukrainian war under Obama. There were no huge open border issues under Obama. In fact, he deported more people than Trump. Yet, even when Obama tried to help out Americans by giving universal health care, the right was adamantly against that shit. They said he's trying to turn America into a socialist nation. The whole issue about we shouldn't be helping out other people, we should be doing for Americans first is bullshit. And I'll tell you why. You notice there's nobody bragging about how much they used to do for Americans before the war in Ukraine broke out or before we had an open border policy, because they weren't doing it. You notice even now when they're saying, well, we're going to stop sending money to the Ukraine, we're going to have the largest deportation in history. They're not filling it in what they're going to start doing for Americans with the money, because there's nothing coming. There's nothing coming down the pipe. Nobody is talking about once we stop sending money overseas, this is what we're going to do for the homeless, or this is what we're going to do for the poor. They're not saying that because it's not going to happen. You'll get what you want. No more money going to the Ukraine. No more issue with stuff going to illegal immigrants. But there's not going to be this whole thing of what we're now doing for Americans. So that ain't going to happen. Will G says they already think things are better just off the presence of Trump. While last week they were crying about groceries being too high, they're just hypocrites and opportunists. I don't know about that. They see help now coming. Okay, let's say you're stranded in the middle of the desert and you need help. You need somebody to help. Your car is no longer running. Well, once you make a phone call and you know help is on the way, you're going to start feeling better about that. They now know Trump is only 2 months away. They feel like help is on the way. That's why they feel better. America is for Americans only at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, that was said there, and that's what I'm talking about. Why do people keep talking shit about skin color? Because Europeans called themselves white in 1681 and put them above all people of different skin colors. It's also a status, and that's true. You often hear people saying, I had somebody on the show saying that last night. Why do you got to call yourself African American or, Hispanic or what? How about we just call ourselves Americans? And I actually pushed back and said, you can't call a group of people a certain label and then bitch about them when they start using the label. It's not like the Africans from the slave trade came over to this country and start calling themselves African Americans. That label was gave to them. Now, a few generations later, we're pissed off that they're using it. They didn't make it up. So the descendants of the same people that gave them this label are now telling them to stop using it. All right. Looking in the comments, guy at work told me, check my 401k, better already. That could be true. A lot of political campaigns, people speculate based on them. There are going to be changes to certain stocks and investments simply based on Trump winning the election. I'll tell you some of them. If Kamala Harris had won, the price of firearms, ammunition, and things like that would have likely went up, because it's always a belief that the liberals are going to take away everybody's guns. Remember when Obama got elected, the price of the AR tripled. The AR-15s, the price tripled because they believed that Obama was going to take away AR-15s. They also believed that Obama was going to destroy the U.S. economy. So people who think the U.S. dollar is going to fail, they tend to invest in gold and precious metals. The price of gold skyrocketed. So whoever wins the presidential race, it does affect certain stocks. Another example, Republicans tend to be tough on crime. So for-profit prisons, people who invest in for-profit prisons, they usually see a stock boost because people expect a Republican president, more people gonna get locked up. So now some of the things we do, like selling ramen noodle for $1 a pack and, you know, selling people their soap and all, we're gonna make a lot more money off of this stuff. All that stuff's marked up in prison. So yeah, whoever wins, it does affect some stocks and some investments. And if you got a 401k, as you mentioned, and it's some of that goes into those various stocks, it makes a difference. It does make a difference. Some might suggest that the Russian ruble will become more valuable because Russia's not going to be dealing with the Ukraine kicking their ass as much under Trump. That country may start doing better now because Trump comes over, he breaks the war up, maybe helps Russia acquire a part of Ukraine or, you know, resume their import-export market with Eastern Europe. Russia's going to start becoming a stronger country. So if you're investing in, currency exchanges and things like that, the Russian ruble may become more valuable. Obama cost people their homes with his policy. Zach C., what policy did Obama implement that cost people their homes? I'd be curious to know about that. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on with the program, one of my subscribers, once again, Andy. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Andy, now I know you're down in Alabama, but you are a liberal, a female that thought the females are going to come out and ride with Kamala Harris. How are you doing this morning?
I tell you, you were right. And I'm very disappointed in our country.
Wow. So the women didn't...
I could be not more disheartened at the level of misogyny and racism this country showed last night.
So you tend to agree with one of my earlier callers that the reason Kamala didn't win is partially because she's a woman?
Woman, come on now.
You said misogyny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at Hillary.
What about them saying that
Trump
it wasn't?
always seems to win against women. That says a lot.
He does always seem to win against women. E. Jean Carroll, he lost to E. Jean Carroll so far.
It's because this country doesn't value us, and it's okay. Because they're going to see real quick that what we told them was going to come true.
But if you believe this country doesn't value women, how do you explain Trump getting such a large margin of women voters? He had to get at least 40% of them.
Internal misogyny works just as well.
On women. So women don't value women.
Internalized misogyny. There are women who hate themselves. There are women who, I was gender trained myself. Men get the biggest piece of meat. Men get, difference in everything. Make yourself smaller so they can be bigger. This is talking to us from the cradle.
Damn.
You have no idea how much women are told to make ourselves smaller so y'all can be bigger.
Wow. I've never heard that before. You were in Alabama, too. That may have something to do with it.
It's nationwide. It's just not as prevalently told.
If I'm correct, she lost every swing state, didn't she? Or they haven't decided some of them, but she didn't win a single swing state.
I don't know. All I know is that, like I said, I'm very disappointed. And that first 100 days is going to be a bitch.
What are you expecting?
I expect exactly what his little team wrote. He said he wanted to be dictator for a day. The Heritage Foundation had some internal messaging that I found when we scraped the internet about this country's 250th birthday next year. Next, not 2025, but the next year.
Do you believe Project 2025 will
materialize?
Now, he's denied Project 2025, for instance. Do you believe that there's some that will materialize?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm already seeing it. They already did it to the Alabama Constitution. Hey, we did get another Democrat in Alabama, though. I was right about that.
Yeah, that's a tiny, tiny consolation prize indeed. It's like walking out of Wheel of Fortune with a peppermint stick. But, man, 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court is likely to appoint anywhere from 2 to 4 more justices What is America
Well,
headed for, in your
Viktor
opinion?
Orban's name, Tim.
Huh?
He's been hanging out with Viktor Orban. What do you think's going to happen to this country?
People say he's going to be like some of those dictators. That's the Hungarian guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just named the Yahtzee of Europe.
Wow.
Trump called his name in the debate. You don't think we're about to go through a drastic change?
Well, at the end of the day, I don't know what country Trump is going to deliver us, but I will say this. If he does any of the stuff that you're concerned about, you can't blame anybody but the American people. It's not like he ain't been saying this stuff. We've been calling it a joke or it's taken out of context. But it's not like he said one thing and then went and did something totally different. Everything you're talking about, you get it because he's been saying it. Huh?
Part of me thinks they deserve it.
Well, it's what they voted for.
Trump didn't pull 50% of women anywhere, though.
No, but he pulled a lot. He pulled a lot.
No, I'm telling you, I saw the breakdown of the numbers. It was close, but, overall it was more than 50% voted the other way of women. It was primarily men, shockingly Hispanic and Latinos.
Blacks, too. I mean, well, he got like 18% of the black vote, which is probably mostly men. I don't know the Hispanic lowdown. I'd be curious to see what that is because Hispanics is shocking.
Because it was so negligible on the black community when you read the listing for it barely even listed margins. I was really shocked.
Yeah, he didn't win by.
It listed white people, black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, and other people. And the other people were all in huge numbers too. All the percentages were way up.
Yeah, and I see in the comments, Will G says that was George W. Bush that cost people homes with their policies. Yeah, I don't know anything about what Obama did to cost people their homes.
And y'all can say it's not true, but y'all can find it in, I think it's either the New York Times or the Washington Post. They got a breakdown percentage-wise of gender, race, age.
Yeah, well, he did very well last night. That is a genuine red wave. Yeah, I mean, do you think there's a possibility of a federal abortion ban now, though?
Oh, yeah.
Several states voted in favor of it.
J.D. Vance is standing behind Trump, and Trump babbles like an idiot.
Wow.
Here's my prediction. Trump won't be in office 2 years. J.D. Vance will replace him. We'll have no-fault divorce and a complete abortion ban.
Jeez. In 2 years.
Well, that's all J.D. needs to puppet him so he can take those 2 years and have 2 more terms.
Wow.
And then Heritage Foundation has control of this country.
Like I said, it ain't like he wouldn't send some of this stuff, so.
And after what happened over the last weekend of his running, the representation, if you know what I'm talking about, at Madison Square Garden.
Oh. Not exactly
the microphone. I mean, and what he said about Liz Cheney. And they still voted for him, so they deserve what they're getting.
Well, they obviously wanted him.
Fine. My husband's wealthy. I meet their criteria. It's not me that's gonna suffer.
Fair enough. I can hear it in your voice, though. I can tell you're certainly not happy. I can certainly hear that. I'll move it on, Andy, but this is where we at.
Person of my word, and I did come to tell you, congratulations to your beloved MAGA. And like I said, we'll see how this plays out. Nice knowing you, Tim.
Appreciate it. It ain't that bad. God damn, girl, you about to make me break out in tears.
I'm thinking about moving to Toronto. My husband's company has an office there.
Moving to Toronto. How easy is it to do that? Can you just...
He'd get a visa and we could be going in less than 3 months.
And they'll let you stay like that indefinitely?
My husband is a very high talented gains for any country.
So he has something.
For living, he is a senior computer software architect.
Fair enough.
So
all right. Well, we'll be talking, I'm certain, because there's going to be all kinds of controversial shit coming out. As Mr. Rogers would say, there'll be things that will...
I'm thinking about leaving the app.
Huh?
I'm thinking about leaving the app. I'm done when I came today.
Wow. Man. Andy? All right. Take care. Take care. Wow.
Peace out, dude.
All right. Appreciate it. Moving on to the program. That was probably one of the most sad losers, because I mean she supported Kamala Harris, so she lost in that election. That was probably one of my most sadder viewers I've had. Me and Andy go way back. She's been calling the program for quite a while. She's always welcome on the program, but she really is distraught. Certainly she was, believing that women's rights need to be at the forefront. So she certainly got exactly the opposite of what she was hoping for. And she does indeed sound very, very disappointed. Very disappointed. I got to assume there's more. I haven't seen The View this morning. I'm dying to see that because I know those ladies are disappointed. Whoopi Goldberg. Actually, all four of them. One of them used to work for Trump, and she stated yesterday she was voting for Kamala Harris. So all four ladies on The View, Whoopi, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, I can't think of the woman's name that used to work for Trump. But all of them are very, very upset this morning, I'm sure. I have to watch it. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate we didn't get to 100,000. I kept begging you folks to tap the screen on TikTok. I just couldn't get you guys to show the program some love. We should have been around 10,000 likes. That did not happen. Some lazy thumbs in the program. Very unbearable. Always yelling, says you talking about The View? To me, if you're going to say that The View is unbearable and there's always a lot of yelling, I'm assuming you don't watch Judge Jeanine Pirro on Fox, The Five. Same thing. Jesse Waters talks over the guests. Same thing. I mean, The Five and The View are kind of opposites of each other. If you favor The Five, or even Harris Faulkner's outnumbered on Fox Network as well, but you don't like The View, then you just want to hear opinions from the right. Because they're very similar programs. The View also talks about other women's issues that are not politically inclined, but the first two segments of The View is essentially the same thing you would see on The Five, just with a Democratic lead. It's the same thing. On the Five, you got one Democrat who's really a fairly soft Democrat that doesn't really push the envelope, and the right just talks all over him. That's what happens on The Five. The opposite tends to happen on The View. It's the same thing. You'll be fine, Andy. Don't worry. She's talking about moving to Toronto. She don't think she's going to be fine. Looking in the comments real quick. Andy, focus on God. He's always been the answer. Anyway, well, if God was going to do something, she might suggest he wouldn't have let it happen the way it's happened already. Jack Smith in talks to end Trump cases, says Denkow. If it's coming from Denkow, I believe it. Jack Smith is in talks to end, Trump has already promised to fire Jack Smith. Might as well end the cases. They ain't going nowhere anyway. He can pardon himself. It's a waste of time. Now, I know a lot of my beloved MAGA, as I always say, believe that the Trump cases were all a witch hunt anyway. Maybe they were. I don't know. I don't buy into that. But as I've said on the program many times, I need to actually hear the evidence the prosecutor is presenting before it's a witch hunt. Maybe you actually did do something wrong. I mean, but the fact that you're trying to silence the case as opposed to proving that you're innocent and it was bullshit, to me, that pushes against it's a witch hunt. I don't know what Jack Smith had. We'll never know because the case is never going to come to light. Might be in a tell-all book after Trump is dead and gone. I mean, I'm sure that I don't think Trump's 100% innocent on all of this shit. I don't believe that he would have been charged for some of this stuff if he was not running for president. Yes, some of it is because they didn't want him to get reelected. But I don't believe all 80-some of those charges, every single one of them, he's innocent of them either. I do believe once he passes on, there will be tell-all books that will come out and say, actually, he actually did do this or did do that. I believe that'll come out. Melania Trump alone probably has an eight-figure book deal anytime she wants it. But we won't know about any of that until Trump's out of power. America as we know it will be over soon. Chris, wow. You think it's that bad? You think Trump's going to fundamentally change it? Now, they were saying that about the liberals too, with transgender surgery and all this. They were saying the same thing about the liberals. I don't know if it's going to be that bad. Here comes all of the January 6ers back in society. By way of yes or no in the comments, the simple wire in. How many of you believe Trump's going to pardon everybody that's serving time for January 6th? By way of yes or no? I think it's safe to assume he's going to pardon some of them, but all of them. I think the leader of the Proud Boys and the leader of the Oath Keepers, they're doing football numbers. So I think one got 22 years in Fed, the other got 18 years. So they're nowhere near getting out. How many of you believe he's going to pardon all of the January 6th participants? A lot of folks are saying yes. Some people are saying most. I tend to think at least most. I mean, you're making a song with them. You're saying it was a good day. It was a love fest. For all of the claims by MAGA that the folks on January 6th that acted up was Antifa, Ray Epps, the FBI, Trump makes it sound like nothing went wrong on January 6th at all. It was a great day. Trump has never blamed January 6th on Antifa, Ray Epps, or the FBI. It's only been his supporters, so we'll see what happens. Downplaying the insurrection is crazy, says Tino. Shit, you might fuck around. It might be illegal to criticize the insurrection by the time we're done. Anyhow, I never got to 100,000. I'm going to wrap it up at this point. I do appreciate you folks that have tuned in. Follow the program on TikTok. We'll be on later today because this is still somewhat of a developing story. So follow the program on TikTok. Subscription on YouTube as well. We're normally here Monday through Friday. We'll go back to that schedule soon because there's no more election in the wake. We were doing every day until the election came up. Well, it's come and gone, and Trump has won by a landslide. Trump has had a very victorious go-round. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Catch you later on today. And also on YouTube, there were agent provocateurs all over that crowd. I watched it on five different live streams on YouTube. It happened. And here's the point about that. I see you said in real time they refused to answer. They refused the National Guard he requested and egged the whole thing on. I got a lot of pushback on that, liberty or death. First of all, you fly out to D.C. You're going to stop the steal. You're stopping Biden from stealing the election from Trump. The whole purpose you're there is to stop the steal and defend President Trump. Some have traveled hundreds of miles to come out there to defend Trump. You hear Trump give a speech. He says, let's go to the Capitol building peacefully and patriotically. It's only a 2-mile walk to the Capitol building. During that 2-mile walk, you totally disregard what the guy said that you came here to defend. And you decide to choose to actually listen to a provocateur like Ray Epps or the FBI, somebody you don't know from fucking Adam, and act a fool. Even though the guy you came to defend clearly told you go peacefully and patriotically. You can't control yourself in a walk that's only spanning 2 fucking miles? To me, that makes MAGA on that day look like sheep. He said go peacefully and patriotically. Why the hell would you be provoked to doing something by Ray Epps? You don't even know what the fuck that is. That's sheep. That is the definition of a sheep. Some dude that nobody knows was able to make them act like that after they all had been told go peacefully and patriotically. Now, going on to the alleged suggestion that Nancy Pelosi was supposed to provide National Guard and she dropped the ball and failed to do her job. Once again, I'm going to point out, you got multiple speakers before Trump. Giuliani, Flynn, Bannon. How many people spoke before President Trump on January 6th? I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 of them? Maybe a span of about 2 hours, 3 hours of speeches before Trump got up there? You requested the National Guard be there. You thought maybe something might go wrong, so I need Nancy Pelosi to provide the National Guard, assuming it was her job. By the time Trump spoke, they had been out there probably 3-4 hours. You know the National Guard you requested is not here. So you requested the National Guard because you feel like you might need extra security. You know that security is not there. Nancy Pelosi has dropped the ball officially. Do you have any duties at all? If you're the president of the United States and you know the person that was supposed to provide security dropped the ball, What do you do if Nancy Pelosi doesn't do her job? Do we just send them to the Capitol building anyway and we'll just blame her for whatever happens? I'm not trying to defend Nancy Pelosi, but I am pointing out if that is the case, and the January 6th hearing suggested it was not Nancy Pelosi's job, but I'm not here to argue that. I am here to argue that what Trump did is irresponsible. Your job is to protect the nation. Why would you send an unsecured crowd that you knew was unsecured, that you knew hadn't been patted down to search for weapons, to one of America's most sensitive targets, the Capitol building? How do you get a pass on that? You can blame Nancy Pelosi all you want, but you know she didn't do her job. Just like you or I, if you or I are at work and our employer tells us to do something and we fail to do it, there is somebody else at your job that has the responsibility to recognize you didn't do your job and then do something else. They don't just keep blaming it on you or I. Somebody else has hierarchy. This guy didn't do what we told him to do. He knew she didn't provide security. Why didn't he do something? Why would you send this crowd to the Capitol building? You know there's no security for them. That's a fuck up in my opinion. Maybe some of you disagree. But to me, it sounds like the mindset was she was supposed to provide national security. She didn't. We'll continue on as normal. If something go wrong, we'll just blame it on her. You're the president of the country. Your job is to keep people safe. Over everybody, you are number one. He just ignored it. I'm going to send him to the Capitol building anyway. And then when things went wrong, well, let's just go blame it on Nancy again. You knew hours before you sent them people to the Capitol building that the security you requested was not there. To me, that sounds like Trump also should be held accountable for that. But I know if you support Trump, you're not going to hear that. But it's not like the lack of security was a surprise. They knew it wasn't there. Why would you send them to the Capitol building where all of these sensitive targets are located, knowing that there's no security? I would assume Trump would be upset if somebody was supposed to provide security for him and they didn't do it. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll catch you later on today. Thank you for tuning in on the horizontal feed. Subscribe to the